What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former big leaguer, former first round pick with the Kansas City Royals in the place to be. Listen, we are here and joined on another beautiful day. Today, I am, it's Friday, man. It is Friday. And I got an awesome topic. I want to say shout out to everybody that's been listening all week. We had some great guests, man. Shout out to my boy, Vic Radcliffe. Shout out to my boy, James J. Mac McDonald, who has come on and definitely gave us some great insight yesterday, former big leaguer. And we had some great guests, man. And I want to close it out with me today on a topic that I definitely wanted to hit home with today. So shout out to Tony. What up, Mark? What's up, Erica? What's going on? All right. Tony, we're going out in Cali. What's going on? Lawrence, what's up? Memphis in the house. So, real fast before I get going. So I got a special offer on May 8th. I will be holding a live hitting masterclass, okay? I'm going to dissect the hitting from top to bottom. Foundation is just, the link is connected here. It's hittingmasterclass.com. Sign up for this. It's just $10. I'm going to dissect the hitting. I know many people are in smack dab in the middle of the seasons, and I wanted to give some more information, man. So it's just $10, man. Sign up for the hitting masterclass. It will be, again, Wednesday, May 8th. Okay, Wednesday, May 8th. I'm holding a live masterclass, and we will dissect the hitting. Okay, sign up for that, man. It's awesome, man. And just based off the responses that I always get from the hitting, I just said let me dig in a little deeper and we go harder. Okay, so shout out to Eddie. What's up? What's going on, Eddie? All right. Real quick story before I get is that what's Weebex? I'm trying to figure that out. Is that a Weebex? What's that? I'm sorry. I don't know, man. But funny story, okay? So just 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I was talking about draft day stories and talking about how to pick an agent. And I was talking about my draft day and my draft experiences and going through that, right? And so, Mark, it's not a live webinar, man. It will be it's a Facebook Live, all right? Normal Facebook Live, okay? Masterclass. So, Pierre, what up, baby? What's going on? Philly in the house, all right? So, we are real quick. So, I talked about it about a few days ago, how to pick an agent, and, when we had a little technical difficulties bringing up my boy J Mac. So, what I wanted to do was I just started talking about how to pick an agent, and I go back and I started talking about my experiences that I had back in the day with picking an agent and my whole draft day experience. And I talked about my scout. It's funny how you speak things into existence. You guys ever had that happen where you speak somebody up and you speak something up and all of a sudden like it happens and it baffles you? So I spoke about my scout who drafted me named Ray Jackson, okay, with the Kansas City Royals, obviously, right? I have not spoken to Ray in I don't know how many years. 15 to 20 years I have not spoken to my scout who have drafted me, okay? I just talked about this yesterday. On Tuesday, I talked about my, picking an agent, and I talked about my story about the box of chocolates, and you guys go back, and it's funny, man, and you had to have been there, obviously, in the house at the time, at my house, but it's a funny story. But I brought him up. Here it is. I have not spoken to. It's funny how things work sometimes. It spooks me out sometimes, right? But yesterday I was at a baseball game, okay? And I'm gonna try to get my boy on here. So he got a kid, Mo Hampton. He has a son right now who's going to be a potential first rounder. And I just so happened to be at the high school there and watching him play. At the end, I saw only one AB, but anyway, a lot of scouts is there. I didn't get a chance. Still haven't really got a chance to really watch him. But I've talked to his dad a couple of times, and I'm trying to get him on the show because he's going through it. Everybody's pulling at him right now. You're going to imagine next month, lives are going to change. He's an LSU football commit who plays baseball, okay? And hence, that's what I'm going to talk about today. And So I'm in the stands and I'm sitting next to him, a couple of, people that I know. I'm sorry, his dad, a couple people that I know, and a scout from the Washington Nationals that was there watching Moj play. So we get to talking with the scout, small talk. He's been scouting for 20 plus years. Come to find out, he knows a lot of the same people that used to scout me back in New York. And one being, he was like, man, so who scouted you? Who drafted you at that time? Was it Ray Jackson? I said, yeah, Ray was my guy. He said, really? I said, yeah. He said, when I said, I haven't spoken to him in years. I said, I just brought him up. I said, I do a daily Facebook live show, and I just brought him up the other day. He's like, wait 1 second, right? Now, here it is. I just talked about Ray. I have not seen him in years, okay? Haven't talked to him or seen him in years. I just happened to be, I actually wasn't even supposed to be in the stands. I was going to the cages, but I just, I was being nosy. I couldn't get into the cages, so I started watching the high school game, and, the scouts were there, and I ended up, rapping to one of them. He's like, yo, yeah, wait for 1 second. So he tried to call Ray. Ray didn't pick up, but Ray ended up calling. He called him again at the very end of the game, and he got a hold of Ray Jackson. So he's like, talking small talk, and he just said, yo, listen, D. He's like, come here for a second, man. Come here. So he's talking to Ray, and then Ray's like, man, who's this kid that you drafted, man, out of New York? I can't remember. He's like, I started bringing up all these names. And he's like, man, what about, wasn't a kid named D or DeMar? He's like, yeah, DeMar Brown. Well, he got a son. He's ready to play. Scouts talk, right? He's like, I heard he had a son that's ready to play. And I was like, he's like, nah, he ain't got no son. He's like, matter of fact, wait, right here. So I said, Dad, man, Ray. I said, you putting kids on me, man? I said, you putting some kids on me? He's like, oh man, what's up, dude? What's up, man? And I'm like, I haven't talked to this man in 15 to 20 years. I have not talked to him. And it's just so funny. On this show, I speak my draft day experience, and I talk about this chocolate story. You guys got to go back and check it out. And sure enough, bam. Yes, last night I brought him up and saw a scout who knew him, gave me the number, and we connected last night for the first time in 20 years, man. Ain't that crazy how this thing works? And you put stuff in the air, it works, right? So I got to talk to my scout who drafted me all these years. It's been a very, very long time, and at least 15 years. And we talked a long time and connected, and it was just a good story. And he brought up he said, man, you remember that chocolate story? And I had to laugh. I said, it's funny. I do these live shows, and I talked about that story on the live show. I won't do it justice on here because it won't be funny. Even the scout I was telling the story, he laughed, but I could tell. But you had to be there. But that's the first thing he brought up was that chocolate story about the chocolates, and it was the funniest thing ever. And me and my dad, to this day, we still laugh about it. But he remembered that story. I had to laugh myself. I was like, you remember that, huh? He's like, yes, I do, D. Yes, I do. So anyway, it's just funny, man. Speak things to existence. I know it's with your kids, speak it to existence, what you want from them. Because it happens. I just brought his name out, and boom, here he is. I have not talked to this man in 15 plus years. I mentioned him. I mentioned his name, and I drafted a story on Tuesday, and here it is 2 days later. I'm talking to this man for the first time in 15, 20 years. Crazy how this thing works, okay? All right. Whew. All right, let me get into this content. Let me make sure I shout out to everybody before I get it. Pierre, I said, what's up, Pierre? Philly in the house. Jessica Jackson in the house. Alicia, what up? Jersey in the house. What's up, William? Triple, what up? Nashville in the house. Eusebio, what's up? Florida in the house. Thomas, what's up? Arkansas, I gotta give you a call. J Mac, what up? Pedro, what up? T Suck, what's up? Long time. I'm talking about you the other day, too, T Suck. Anyway, shout out to everybody listening in. Let's get this content going, okay? 2 sport athletes, okay? And the reason I'm bringing this up, man, because 2 days ago we talked about it with my boy Vic Radcliffe. Shout out to my boy Vic who came on and was talking about his son being a 2-sport athlete and choosing baseball his senior year. And last night, like I said, I was watching this kid, Moj Davis, who is an LSU commit football player. And, he's signed and still delivered, and he is going and he has the potential to go become a first-round pick. So, a big kid, strong, and, all signs say this kid may go first round, and he's an LSU commit, 2-sport guy, playing football at LSU and going to play baseball. And so I thought I'd hit this topic, man, just and it all kind of hit home talking with Vic and his son, watching Moj play last night. And earlier today, I was at the gym and I was watching something. They were talking about Patrick Mahomes, okay? And talking about Kansas City Chiefs. And I was like, man, you know, watching him play all the different angles, I was like, man, that's that baseball. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about two sport athletes because it just keep hitting me in my head because people don't know that. I mean, people do know by now he's an NFL MVP, but his dad was a major league pitcher for many years. I faced his, you know, good pitcher, man, for many years in the big leagues. And, you know, Patrick Mahomes was a great baseball player, you know what I'm saying? And the son was a great baseball player too in high school, threw 90 plus, but chose football, okay? So now what I wanted to talk about was the benefits, talk about the benefits and the non-benefits when it comes to being a two-sport athlete, okay? And the reason I say this because I'll tell my story, and like I always do, and I'll talk about. This is after Barron's dad, Vic Radcliffe, talked about his situation with his son, and it's very similar to mine. And when it comes to being a two-sport athlete, you know, there's no people who know me very closely know that football was always my favorite sport. All right, football is my first love. I was an all-American football player. You know what I'm saying? One of the top football players, you know, to ever play in New York. And I'm not, you know, at that time especially. I had a full ride to play at University of Maryland as a running back. Okay, and I took recruiting visits to Boston College, Penn State, Syracuse, University of Iowa, and Maryland. All right, I didn't take no baseball trips. Okay, I was a football player. I wasn't even, you know, I was going to walk on to play baseball. Was not going to play college. I mean, I wasn't going on a college scholarship to baseball. So when I'm talking from college experience, when it comes to these college baseballs and all of that, and junior college, I'm coming from a different place because my mindset in high school was, you know, yeah, I wanted to get drafted, but I was going to sign a football scholarship because, and I'm going to talk about it, you know, draft wise, what at that time, what was perceived to be the best move, especially if you are a high level football player. Okay. So I signed a football scholarship, had a full ride, but I ultimately chose baseball, right? Being drafted in first round, same thing that the Mojay Davis kid is going through. Mojay is going through yesterday. I don't want to get his last name right. You know, I'm wrong. My bad. But he is going through yesterday. You know, I met him for the first time, but, you know, he's a big time athlete. Like, he's LSU commit, okay? He's LSU. You know, I'm Maryland, but he's LSU. So, you know, he's doing the same thing, okay? But, you know, he signed, sealed, delivered in February. He signed his letter of intent. And now, you know, he's waiting to see where he goes in the draft. And he's got a tough decision to make, okay? So he takes the millions, or does he go play in front of, you know, 78, 80,000 in LSU and go play college baseball, right? You know, we'll see. But the benefits, all right? I want to talk about being a two-sport athlete. So if you guys, you know, people always say, hey, you know, it's great to play two sports, great. And that was a big debate. I had it in the late in November-ish. I had a live show that I talked about, you know, being an exclusive app, you know, basically choosing one and going with it, and the benefits and the non-benefits of that. So I want to talk about the two-sport athletes. Okay, so one of the benefits of being a two-sport athlete when it comes to playing baseball and another sport is, I believe, is athleticism. And again, I'm giving my version from my side, from what I see coaching, from what I experience as a player. Okay, so what I always felt like, okay, that when you play another sport, okay, especially like a basketball or football, it really enhances your athleticism that you can take on the baseball field. Okay, nothing like, you know, seeing a guy that is fast, but his quick twitch muscles, his hand-eye coordination, you know, his hands and all of that. So football or his jumping ability, his explosion, and his first step quickness, which helps with basketball. And, you know, it's nothing like seeing great athletes on the baseball field. Okay, hone it. Even though baseball is like a refined skill that, you know what I'm saying? Because there's been plenty of non-athletes make millions of dollars in baseball. Okay, trust me. I've been teammates of them, and I've played against them, that I'd be like, look at this dude. He just blessed with a right arm, and he's making millions of dollars. Or this guy is blessed with able to hit hand-eye, can't run a lick, but it's just blessed to be able to hit a baseball a long way. Okay, I just believe, and when I was playing, I always said this, like, the longer I played baseball, especially the longer I became a professional baseball player, the more I felt less of an athlete. And I say that, and I know that sounds so crazy, people, you know, that I say that, but I truly believe that because you become so specialized. Now I became a better baseball player, but the athleticism left me. Okay, like baseball is one of those. A ball breaks and you work on your first step quickness and you go, which is equivalent to being a running back and exploding through the hole or something like first step. That's the same thing with stealing the base. But that's maybe 1-2 times a game, maybe. So the less you do that, over the years, the less the explosion. With football, it's always boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? And I was more quick than fast. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a 6'6", 6'7" runner. You know what I'm saying? Which is fast, but you guys have had guys on here that run 6'2", 6'3". You know what I'm saying? And Highland Hall came over. Mojay Davis that came. Mojay that plays yesterday. I'm sure he's 6'4", 6'5" runner at best. You know what I'm saying? I was never that. I was more quick than fast. Okay, I ran a 4.5 40. You know what I'm saying? Legit 4.5, but I prided myself in the box drills and the cone drills and cutting in and out because I was a running back and I excelled at that. But that doesn't really translate so much in baseball. The only time it translates is maybe running home on a double and and my coaches always say like I'm in high school now. I never seen somebody jump off that first base and just explode through that bag when I'm legging out a double or the triple. But that's kind of like, running cone drills, anything like that. But as far as like, fly balls and like being able to just flat out run and chase fly balls down, that wasn't, I couldn't translate my athleticism into that outfield like I wanted to. Okay. Cause when you, especially me, I'm big, I'm a football player in a baseball body. I'm a football body, in a baseball uniform. Right. So, I'm a bulky guy. For the guys that remember me that played, I was 235 pounds, you know what I'm saying? So in a uniform, muscular guy, I look, what I'm saying? I look like a fullback or whatever, like I was slow, but I ran, you know what I'm saying? I ran and was still bags, especially in the minors. But I couldn't translate, you know what I'm saying? That like quickness and stuff on the field like I wanted to, and it was like, especially the more, football and basketball, you're constantly moving, so your body's always loose. Baseball is like you're standing around, then you got to explode. You're standing around, then you got to explode. Or you get in the bases, then, you get the run sometimes, but it's a lot of stand, go. You know what I'm saying? Where, the football, you kind of go, and your body is always loose, and you're able to run for days. But baseball is always like, a lot of tightness and stuff that always happened to me. But anyway, that's one of the benefits I see when you are, playing the game of baseball and you're playing multiple sports. That athleticism bleeds into that game of baseball. I'm talking about how it didn't for me, but it does for a lot of people. I could look and tell somebody that plays multiple sports. I promise you I can, okay? One of the benefits is, when it comes to playing multiple sports as to baseball, it's a different mental approach that you could tell somebody that's played, like, especially the game of football, that then plays baseball, all right? Like football and basketball, I don't care what nobody tell me. I know you as a quarterback, you got to remember a lot of plays and a lot of wide receivers and all this. You got to be, plays and all of that. But there's nothing more stressful or nothing more, mind consuming as far as pitching a baseball, knowing when to pitch, whatever, and hitting a baseball. All right, trying to figure out what they're going to pitch and all of that. Okay, baseball is a thinking man's game. That pitcher hitter relationship is a chess match. Okay. It's very different from basketball and football where everything is reaction. You know what I'm saying? You're reacting to things. And you see the ball, you go get it. Or you're tackling and you're trying to run away from the guy. It's just instinctive things. You're not really thinking, you're just reacting, right? And baseball is one of those slow, mechanical, methodical. You got to be strategic in your approach to hitting. Some guys don't think at all, but most guys do. Okay. And so when the benefit, I say is a benefit that you play other sports is because it's less mental. It's less mental stress on your brain. I play football and I play basketball coming all the way up, okay? And I may be biased and all of that. I know football players, it's hard to remember the plays. No doubt about it. Quarterbacks got playbooks that big. No doubt about it. But that's a lot of memorization. I get it. But most of those players and all, you got to remember a few plays. You hear, it'd be XYJ, 23 pass right on something. And you hear one little letter or one little whatever. That's your position in which you need to remember, okay? Baseball, you got 3-4 pitches. You got to remember what this guy did to you, what's going on. It's a lot of mental things that can stress you out. So I believe that baseball is more mental. So the more sports you play, the less you get away from the game of baseball, less mentally, strong you have to be. Because let me say that right. most football players that play baseball have that way of kind of just bringing the football in there where they like, block out the stressful mindset. You know what I'm saying? They don't get so, mental when it comes to the game of baseball. They're able to like, and you can tell a football player, all right, they just mentally, they got that mentally tough because they don't let things, linger. They just go on to the next play or whatever. And they have a mentality like, I'm gonna get you, don't worry about it. They forget the 2 or 3 ABs that they kind of, didn't do well in. Okay. That's just, you could just tell that mental side of a two-sport athlete. You could just tell it. They just a little bit, when I say strong, it's a little bit more, I'm gonna get you, all right, than baseball players that kind of tend to be sit back and thinking more. Okay. The main thing, one of the benefits, and it comes to the draft, and like a guy like Moj or myself or Baron, well, it didn't work for Baron. I'm gonna talk about that, but is leverage. Okay, leverage. So what does that mean? Moj can sit here and tell every scout and all of that. They know they got to come with it because he's one of the top. He's an Under Armour All-American, and again, he's like, yo, I'm going to LSU, one of the top programs in the country on a full ride. So now I have leverage. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like, yo, if you come with me, you can't compare my LSU baseball scholarship than the player next to me. Well, you can't compare my football scholarship LSU to the Joe Smith that has a Stanford scholarship. Well, Stanford's a great school, but again, essentially, I'm showing you that I'm such a top athlete that I can potentially make NFL money, okay? Not just, baseball money scholarship, which is not really a full ride, okay? But I have a full scholarship to play at one of the top level SEC schools in the country, right? So that's leverage. When you come in there and you are acquiring about, drafting me and all of that, I'm bringing this to you. Like, like you can read the paper or read the magazines or the sites and know that, listen, I'm one of the top running backs in the country or top football players in the country. You gotta come with it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, the potential. And Kyler Murray's another guy, right? Kyler Murray's another guy. Okay. He had 4.9 million sitting there in Oakland, first round pick, Heisman Trophy. All right. Now, you know what I'm saying, first round pick, first pick. So he's going to make in excess of 20-something million. You know what I'm saying? So, he's sitting pretty. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, he's like, yo, Oakland, you want me? You want me even more? Come up above 20-something million. Of course, Oakland ain't going to do that. But now he's like, yo, let me leverage. I love football. I'm going to make more money right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go. But a guy like out of high school, like he don't have necessary millions as far as like coming from football yet, but he can say, hey, I project to potentially make XYZ in the draft. Nobody knows what he's going to do in college. He may never make it. But again, big time program, big time football player. That's leverage. I love, you got to play that fine line behind the scenes with the scouts because they're going to be asking you and wondering how much you love baseball. Do you really want to go to football and all of that? I'm going to tell my story on the back end of this. Okay. So that's one of the benefits of being a high level. Now, this is very few. Moj, I'm sure, is maybe one of 3 to 5 guys maybe in this whole top level draft that can use this as leverage. Okay? Maybe 3 to 5 guys can use the two-sport at this level. Okay? There's guys that are very good athletes right now that are going to be drafted next month, okay, that play, basketball, football, or soccer or something that have, potentially can't go to college and play. But I'm talking about high level. All right, All-American in football, and that he can use, or basketball you could use as leverage. Okay, so that's another benefit of playing two sports all the way through. Okay, for leverage purposes. Okay, so those are just 3. I could go on about a few, but I'm just telling you those are the 3 major benefits that I see of playing two sports. Athleticism. All right, this is a mental, mentally being, it's less mental to play other sports, which you can take that mentality into the game of baseball, and you don't necessarily care so much. You know what I'm saying? I know it sounds funny, but football players, you can tell their mentality. They have that I'm gonna get you, but they like I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna keep coming back. Where baseball players tend to be a little bit more reserved and more thinkers. Okay, and leverage purpose. Okay, so that's number 3, leverage. Okay, if you're a top level two-sport guy, you got leverage. Okay, now the non-benefits. Okay, so there's nothing like playing one particular sport, especially like if you're, I know we get to talk about the specialization and all. There is nothing like specializing in one sport. Okay, there's nothing like playing just like you guys do your job. If you multitasking and all of that, there's some people that are good at what they do, doing multitasking at one time. All right, but if you just focus on one thing, you do that a lot better than multitasking and spread it out, and it ends up being, average at best on multiple things. Okay, same thing when it comes to sports, man. When you I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a big topic. I talked about it back in November, I think. And the specialization, okay, there is nothing like it. I was, in my mind at least, one of the top running backs in the country coming out, okay? But again, I was spread over 3 sports. I didn't play basketball my senior year, but I played all 3 coming all the way up to my senior year in high school. I realized very quickly when I signed that baseball scholarship how far behind I was. When I signed that baseball contract, when I went down and signed that first day or two, I could see clearly the Dominican over here, the Venezuelan dude, the dude from Florida, the dude from Texas that played nothing but baseball. I saw clearly that, wow, I'm light years behind these dudes who just play baseball all the time. All right. Now, the football mentality in me when it comes to working out and working hard and all of that eventually caught up to these dudes, okay? But I was so far beyond. I would play maybe 20-some games in high school, 25 games. We went to the state championship 2 years in a row, 2 out of my 4 years in high school, and we played a total of 27 games all the way to the state championship, and then I played another maybe 25, 30 games Legion ball in the summer, okay? So 50 games a year I would play. You know what I'm saying? Some of these kids are playing 50, but then by the springtime, you know what I'm saying? And I would play, that was the most. In high school, that's the most I ever played. You know what I'm saying? Those 2 or 3 years I played Legion ball. I played, so 50 games a year compared to you Dominican dudes, they're playing all year round. Right now, they will be playing from January all the way through to November, December, take a few weeks off and come right back and be playing. You know what I'm saying? So from 13, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on up, okay? So just think about the reps and everything again. So it's nothing like specializing in the sport as far as like honing in on your skills and getting extremely good at that, okay? Nothing like it. One of the non-benefits that high-level 2-sport guys, when I mean high-level, meaning like you really think you have a chance to go pro in both, okay? I felt like in my mind I had it. Who knows, okay? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I thought I was good at football, right? But when I made that decision to strictly play baseball, there wasn't, especially every time, the slumps, the down and the lonely times in the minor leagues, the bus rides and all of that, it eats at you. You wonder, like, that's why you see a lot of guys, quit baseball who have, and then go back to play football. Okay, you see guys that happens a lot. Okay, Chris Winkie, you had Casey Whedon, you had there's a guy with, I think he's with tight end. I can't remember what team he's on, but he played 3 or 4 years in the Pirates organization, I think, but went back to South Carolina and became, a first-round pick, I think, with the I can't remember. I read his story. I was looking at him in the NFL, but great athlete. I can't remember. I want to say the Bengals, but I could be wrong. But he's another guy. So you see a lot of those guys. A friend of mine, I want to get him on the show one day, but Vernon Morenzi was another guy. All right, 2-sport guy out of high school, signed out of high school to play professional baseball. Only lasted 2+ years. Went to Oklahoma State. Played 2 years at Oklahoma State. Got drafted and played 5 years in the NFL. And those lonely times you're struggling and all of that type of stuff. I remember Quincy Carter. He played for the Cowboys quarterback. Was a Georgia quarterback back in the day. I remember him. Coming out scuffling and going back to football. Man, there's been a lot of 2-sport athletes. Chad Hutchison, football guy that went back, baseball guy that went back to football, played 2 sports in college. Man, I'm just thinking of all the guys that I know. Drew Henson is another guy. Baseball is one of those sports, man, that it's a hard sport to master. All right, everybody think, the normal person standing outside walking think baseball is a lot of standing around and all of that. Okay, the single hardest thing to do, and listen. I think basketball players are the greatest athletes because they're 6. Some of these guys are 6'8", 6'9", able to jump, run, throw, and do crazy stuff with their bodies being that tall. You know what I'm saying? I think D-backs, defensive backs, / wide receivers for football are the second greatest athletes. You know what I'm saying, out there. Okay, but baseball player, I guarantee, if you ask Deion or anything like that, Sanders, who's one of the best athletes ever, or Bo Jackson, if it's easier to play football or baseball, he would say football. all right, they will say football. All right, it's easier to play than baseball, okay? And those are the top athletes that I grew up on. You guys all know, okay? So it is a tough sport, but once you go into that tough thing, one of the issues that I would have is just wondering if you made the right decision. The indecisiveness, like, if you're good at both, okay, the tugging in your brain, I'm talking high level stuff, okay? And like I asked Baron Radcliffe, we talked about Vic two days ago. We talked to his dad, Vic, but I asked Baron when on the show, he came on there over the wintertime, and I asked him, do you ever regret? He's like, nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? But I know I did sometimes. I remember I had dreams and visions of playing college football when I was in Omaha, Nebraska, or Wichita, Kansas, in the middle of minor leagues. I called my boy, and he's telling me, yeah, D, my boy I was going to be rooming with in Maryland. He's like, yo, we playing at Georgia Tech in front of 65,000 tonight. What you doing? I'm like, yo, I'm in Medford, Oregon. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm in Yakima, Washington right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, on a 14-hour bus ride. You know what I mean? And I'm like, he's like, yo, you wish. He's like, man, I wish you was out. I was like, I wish I was out here too, man. I hear girls in the background, all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? So that tugging, but when you're doing good, you don't really think about it, especially in the big leagues. But it took me at least, first 3 to 5 years playing in professional baseball before I really stopped missing the game. And that tugging on war, if you're really, I'm talking about high level stuff, guys that are high level athletes, at multiple sports. I see guys all the time. And it's funny, like most of these guys that you see, especially African-American baseball players, most of them are like baseball was their second or third sport. You know what I'm saying? Even like you see CC won 3,000 with 3,000 strikeouts. You know what I'm saying? But people don't know that he was a hell of a football player and a hell of a basketball player in high school at D1 offers. Okay. And you talk to many of guys, all right, that, are playing, real high level athletes on the Major League Baseball field. Baseball wasn't their first sport, but baseball, chose them draft wise, money, whatever it takes. It's reason that they hung in there when it comes to baseball. Okay. So one of the indecisiveness that tugs on you is one of the non-benefits of playing two sports going up. And you're always going to wonder like, man, I wish how good I could be if I just stick to this sport, or how good I could be if I stick to just baseball. You know what I'm saying? That tugs on you. You know what I'm saying? Especially the higher you go. All right. And the main part I wanted to talk about this, the main reason I even talk about this whole topic was, and it's funny, like Vic Radcliffe, go listen. That was a great interview. I'm gonna get Vic back on here. Shout out to everybody that listened to Vic 2 days ago. And he talked about Baron, his son was a Division I football, quarterback, you know what I'm saying? 6'4", 220, you know what I'm saying, with a freaking right arm and stuff, but he got, recruited pretty late. But he was like, the reason why the big schools waited to the last minute to start offering him is like because the football school was worried and knew how good of a baseball player he was, okay? And the baseball schools knew how good of a football player he was, so they didn't want to waste a scholarship on him, either one. So now he's sitting back and wondering why is these other kids getting all these, offers and the baseball, he's like, why I'm not getting these offers and all of that, because they essentially were canceling themselves out. And when my boy Vic said this story 2 days ago, it hit home with me like crazy. Okay. I remember again, I was a football player, but the first ever college baseball letter I got, or anybody who ever contacted me, was Tim Corbin, okay, who is now the head coach at Vanderbilt, okay? But back then, he was the assistant coach at Clemson, okay? And he's a New Hampshire guy. And my Legion Ball team went up to New Hampshire. We would play up there 2 years, when I was 15 and 16, we played up there. He just happened to see my sophomore year going into my junior year. He just happened to see some Legion Ball games because he was home visiting his family. And he came out to the baseball field, and it just so happened I was out there. And he said he wanted to look at this other kid who ended up being a first-round pick. And he saw me out there. And, I didn't know he was there, of course, like anything. But I started getting letters. He's like, yo, personal letter. I saw you, D, and blah, 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 blah. What do you ever think about playing college baseball? Well, no, he was my first letter I ever got. Okay? And he hung in there with me to the very end. But he loved Northeast guys. Tim Corbin, he's a Northeast guy himself. You know what I'm saying? So he's from New Hampshire. So he loves Massachusetts, Jersey, New York, guys from up there. He would tell you that. Even in Vandy, every year he has a handful of guys from up the Northeast because that's his home. That's where he's from. So you guys know Tim Corbin now is the head coach at Vanderbilt now, right? Okay, so he was the first one to ever give me my letter in college baseball. But I told him straight, I was always, when it was time for that we could communicate and talk on the phone, I told him straight up, I was a football player and I wanted to go on a full ride. And he was straight up with me like, you're not playing Clemson, coming from New York, you're not playing football at Clemson. Now, if Clemson was good then, they ain't where they are now. They were still very good, okay, back in those days, okay? And they recruited a little bit up in Jersey area from kids down there, but essentially he's like, yo, D, you coming down here in a college baseball scholarship, that's it. But he hung in there to the very, very last minute, okay, with me. But eventually he took a scholarship off baseball-wise off the table because he's like, yo, D, especially after I came from the area code games, all these college baseball from the area code games started calling me like crazy. USC, Arizona State, Notre Dame, and all these big time, Florida, Arizona, you know what I'm saying? North Carolina State. Everybody started calling me after I came from area code games. All right. But I'm already a football guy, and I told him straight up. And I asked him, I said, listen, I'm going on a football scholarship. If USC, like the USC coach and the University of Florida coach called their football people to start recruiting me, and it happened, but they end up signing in-state kids, and I never got the chance to go visit any of those schools. But again, my whole point is telling you that the Clemson, Tim Corbin is like, D, I'm not going to give you an offer your scholarship, man, because I believe you're going to go in the draft. You know what I'm saying? I believe you're going to go in the draft. Football schools, same thing. I had University of Florida, I had Michigan State. I had some big-time offers on the table that they took off the table. They're like, yo, D, we didn't realize how good of a baseball player you are. Okay, we believe that once, millions are going to be thrown your way, you're not going to sign with us. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go. And essentially, it got to be the point, like in 1 week in December, I remember like crazy. It felt like 1 week or so in December. I mean, 3 or 4. I remember Florida took the offer off, and then, I wasn't going to go to Florida anyway because they were signing kids locally. And, but Florida, Boston College, I can't remember that far, but maybe about 4 schools in 1 week, week and a half took their scholarships off the table, man. And my dad got nervous. He was like, dude, you better come on and sign with somebody, man, because they taking these scholarships off the table, man, all because the football schools knew how good of a baseball player. So I say that to say, and Vic made this point 2 days ago, okay? If you are at that level, okay, what I mean by like the Mojay kid, yes, tomorrow I met yesterday who was going out, they're and behind the scenes they are inquiring, okay. I guarantee, yes, LSU hung in there with them, but I guarantee a lot of college baseball, definitely, some football schools realized how good of a baseball player he was, and they started taking their scholarships off the table, okay. Just like what happened with Barron, he said both sides, both ends. College football player, was taking their scholarships because they realized how good a baseball player, and college baseball teams were taking their college baseball schools were taking their offer off the table because they knew how good of a football player he was. Okay, I had that happen because of the pro thing. You know what I'm saying? The draft time. You know what I'm saying? They're like, man, once this money comes to you, it's gonna be a waste of a scholarship. So we're not gonna waste on you. Sorry, D. And it was a stressful time. And just imagine all these offers coming to your table, you smiling, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they started taking it. And I was like, man, it's supposed to be a blessing. I thought a two-sport athlete is supposed to be a blessing. You know what I'm saying? That I could use this as leverage. But now I'm like, whatever. And truth be told, I chose Maryland, who is Maryland back then is Maryland now. You know what I'm saying? Middle of the road. They're a Big Ten now. Back then they were the ACC. Middle of the road, 6-6. Sometimes 7-4, 7-5. They may make a bowl game from time to time. You know what I'm saying? But they weren't a high level whatever. Then I felt like I was capable of playing. But they offered me my first ever scholarship. Rutgers in Maryland offered me my first ever scholarships back in those days as a sophomore. You know what I'm saying? And they hung in there with me all the way, through to the end. And I was just like, well, Maryland, y'all been with me longest, man. I'm signing with y'all. Their starting quarterback was playing 2 sports at the time. He was walking on as a baseball player, so I knew they're going to let me play 2 sports. So anyway, when I say non-benefits, as much as they say you're going to hear every team, you're going to hear every scout out there and all that say, oh, we love 2-sport athletes. Yes, they do. But if you're at the high level, sooner or later they're going to choose, and there's going to be an issue with them. I'm just telling you straight up. You heard Vic talk about it with his son, and it was an issue for me. Is it a bad issue? I still had a full ride and all of that, but I believe I could have really went higher, had a bigger and better school. they're not signed with. But again, scholarships were being taken off because they realized how good of a baseball player. Same thing, you know what I'm saying? Baseball schools and all that didn't mess with me because I wanted a football scholarship. Bottom line, okay. So I'd say that to say I'm not going to tell you what's right, what's wrong, what you should be doing. I'm not going there. But there's nothing wrong with playing two sports, okay? Nothing wrong with that, or all three. I just feel like when it comes it's got to be a certain time in high school. And you guys ask me any question that you want, and I know some comments. I'm gonna shout you guys out in a minute. I just want to get this content in there. I appreciate you guys hanging in with me, okay? But there has to be a time that you make a decision, okay? There has to be a time. Obviously, sometime in high school. There's nothing wrong with getting scholarships for multiple sports, okay? There's nothing wrong. Some of the greatest athletes have done it. Yeah, I talk about Bo. I talk about Deion. You got a guy like Dave Winfield who had 3 opportunity to play pro sports in all 3 major sports, all right? I mean, it is, the times are different now, but I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with playing 2 sports. But I'm just saying there is a time that you're going to have to make a decision, and there's a time that a scout, a recruiter, or something will hold that against you as much as they say that they love you to do it, okay? I'm not being negative. It's just a realization, okay? Because especially when it comes to draft time, they want sign, especially nowadays. They want signability. Signability is huge. They're not going to waste the time if they know, like even Moj, he's going to have to really give them some type of, feedback behind the scenes. I don't know, what I'm saying? I saw a couple of scouts that was there yesterday. I know he has a good agent and all of that, but there had to be putting something out there to be like, yo, he'll sign at this particular number, or something needs to happen. They got to buy, he's coming hard. He has to. I mean, listen, he's an all-American LSU running back. You're going to LSU. Think about that, how high level that is. So baseball got to come with it. You know what I'm saying? I have dreams and aspirations. I think his dad played in the league too, NFL wise. You know what I'm saying? He made, it's just, he has to, make that decision and kind of go from there. So, again, I don't see nothing wrong with it, but just understand that one time or another in high school, preferably, you're going to have to make a decision hardcore. All right, I'll give that feedback to that recruiter or scout about what your true intentions are. Because I talk to guys all the time that 2 spot, and they don't know, even though to this day. I got a kid that I train from time to time, and he's a high-level college football, high school quarterback, and he's a decent baseball player. You know what I'm saying? And I asked him, right, he don't know. He's like, yeah, I don't know, coach. I don't know. And I'm like, all right, well, I try to give him scenarios. What do you want to do? He's like, he still don't know football, baseball. And I think it's one of those, he's just like, whatever the best offer comes. If it's a full ride to a big SEC school football, he's going there. Or if it's a big time, college, partial scholarship to a big time SEC school or Division I school, whatever, he's going that route. You know what I'm saying? And, that's the indecision. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Some of the non-benefits is that indecision in your mind. You're like, it's a good thing. I mean, you're a great athlete. You have multiple schools. You got 10 baseball schools, 10 football. That's great. But it could be really taxing on your brain. You got to really, especially if you kind of love one or the other equally, okay? And if you don't love one or the other equally, you get like me. I was a football player. At heart. That's my favorite sport. You tell me right now, I watch the Super Bowl, I watch Game 7 of the World Series, I'm going to pick the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. Nowadays I'm getting older, but yeah, I'm still a football guy at heart. Okay. So anyway, put it like this: today, I ain't watched anything baseball today, but a few highlights on Facebook. But I did watch a little bit of NFL Live. Okay, so that, you know what I'm saying. So that tells you right there. Okay. So anyway, let me say what's up let me get these questions in and people that's commenting. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. I'm going to shout out to, stop that, Steve, what's up, baby? What's going on? Keenan, what up, baby? What's going on, baby? That's right. See you soon. We starting up, man. Email will be coming out soon. T-Sut, what up? Pat, what's going on, Pat? Thomas, 30 to 32 first round NFL draft picks in 2018 draft were multiple sport athletes in high school. Hey, so Thomas from Arkansas, what's up, Thomas? What's going on? Shout out to DB Elite family. 30 out of 32 first round NFL draft picks in the 2018 draft were multiple sport athletes in high school. Okay? It tells you right there. All right. Pat, you could have been a stud in the NFL. Pat, you remember, that's right. You remember me. Appreciate the compliment, Pat. All right. My boy from AZ. Shout out to Pat, my boy Pat. Thomas, great topic. I appreciate the time. Bubba, what's up? Alabama in the house. What's up, boy? Cabrera, what's going on? Mr. Porches, what's up? Connie, South Carolina in the house, what up? Dejik, what's up? You dealing with this too? I know, D, you dealing with this too, man. Manny, what's going on? Luther, what up? Chipper, what's up? Does it stand for left-hand pitchers? Because you never really see left-handed QBs. Nah, I mean, Chipper, he in the right sport, dude. You know, keep him playing, keep him a left-handed pitcher. All right, he can pitch a long time. Okay, play a long time. Mark in Texas, what's going on, baby? Sergio, what up, baby? Great to hear. Ease my mind on this issue. Good, man. I'm glad, Keenan. Mark, what's up? Indiana in the house. Mark Portis, what's up? Missouri in the house. What's up? That's right. Jameis Winston did play both. And he was a star pitcher in college. Yes, he did. But eventually, again, he had to pick. And he was and I've heard multiple times he was a 15th round pick in baseball. But if he strictly was a baseball player, he would have been a first or second round pick. So again, they hold it against you. He was a 15th round pick, all right, out of high school. Okay. But if he was now Florida State, again, all right, Florida State quarterback, number 1 quarterback that year out of the draft, and he got drafted 15th round, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But I guarantee you, even as high as a football player, he said, I want to play baseball, he would have been a first or second round pick. So again, he still got drafted. He still played 2 sports in college, and it still worked out for him as an NFL quarterback, okay? But I'm just saying on a baseball side of things, you know, he could have been a first-round pick out of high school. Amy, what's going on, Amy? What's up? I talked to you, Amy. Playing baseball is lonely. No instant gratification of crowds watching. You're right. It's a long haul. It's a lonely, you know, I don't want to downplay it, whatever. It could be fun. You're playing in front of fans, but you playing in front of fans of Boise, Idaho, or Butte, Montana, or Spokane, Washington. Okay? You do get some good cities the higher you go, but Wichita, Kansas. Okay? You out there. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Dini is laughing at Yakima and Medford. Horrible. I went through Yakima. Yes, Yakima, Washington. I hope I don't offend nobody out there. It's great, beautiful country out there. Some of the parts out in Washington, Oregon, beautiful. I wish back then, you know, we had the tape recorder, but I wish they had the, you know, camera phones back then, because man, some great scenery out there. So I don't want to dog that place out there. I'm just talking about coming from New York and your friends of yours, your roommates that you thought were going to be roommates are playing against Florida State, you know what I'm saying, Georgia Tech, Clemson in front of 70, 80,000, and you driving on the bus 14 hours in Yakima some damn way. I think you made a good choice sticking with baseball, D. Football is cool, but a little more dangerous. I think as a sport in general, baseball has a physical danger. And listen, I will never second guess my decision. Some people are like, oh, you mad? No. And I believe, you know, I had the chance, not barring injury. Now, I had many injuries in baseball. And that's one of the things I'm like, if I had all these issues and stuff with baseball, no telling what I would have had in football. All right. What other sports are you thinking? You mentioned football, lacrosse, and wrestling. Translate to any other sports you think are good for baseball players? Man, I love lacrosse. Oh man, you mentioned lacrosse in here, Mark, but that's one sport. I talked to, you know, a friend of mine I graduated high school with. She's doing great things down in the Houston, Texas area. Her kid is a big time lacrosse player, and they're New Yorkers. Obviously, her husband is from Long Island, and they moved down there. He was a big time lacrosse player, but I love lacrosse. You got football, you got baseball, you got a little bit of tennis, you got soccer with the conditioning up and down. Like it's that sport, man. Oh, I don't like, you know, watch it like hardcore, but just what I see from, you know, the little bit of college, you know, championships and stuff, you know, with the Marylands and the, you know, John Hopkins and the Syracuses, and, you know, I'll be watching them, Virginias and the Dukes and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's a great sport. And I love that, you know, so I don't know, you know, I think the only thing is lacrosse and baseball overlap in the spring. That's just it could be, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Brandon, what's up, babe? What's going on? Interesting insight on how two-sport guys are viewed and the effect on the scholarships. Yeah, I wanted you guys to see from that end, man. And, you know, because it ain't what they all, you know, they all want it until they don't want it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to pick and choose sooner than later. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, I feel like doesn't get talked about too much are the negative sides of two sports. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, oh, it's a great thing to do, great thing to do, and it is. But then when they hold it against you, it ain't too great. All right, Mark says, what age should kids specialize? We doing baseball, but my boy started with football. Is 13, 14 too young to specialize? His passion is baseball, but he's thinking football for high school. I mean, listen, I hear this topic all the time. I think high school, sometime when you start, when I was 13 or 14, I actually, in my mind of minds, I thought that I could actually play a little bit too up NBA. All right. But when ninth grade came around and everybody else continued to grow, I pretty much did not grow no more. Okay. So I love Bo Jackson and Deion for the football, whatever, I thought one time I could make the NBA, but the games like this, basketball stayed here, baseball, football kept going like this. And I knew pretty much after my 14 years, when I was 14, basketball was not going to be the future for me. So what I say is that, and certain guys, they may play on only two, and eventually something's going to rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? You may love a sport and you may have to, but you also may have to make a decision. Business, it's not, I say this, you know what I'm saying, but baseball was a business decision for mine. You know what I'm saying? It was a business decision. I loved it, but I had to grow to love it when I played. Okay? Baseball is a business decision. I had a chance to make a lot of money out of high school, and essentially, I had to give it my full go. Okay? So I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys. So it has to be yours, because if you don't love it, I love competition. I love what I thought that baseball can, was going to do and all that type of stuff. But eventually you see guys that go out there and play and will play for free. Okay. Those who especially the higher level, lower levels too. You see guys that you guys see it on kids. If your parents are making you play, you know what I'm saying? And that kid that just love to be out there and can play 3 games or whatever, you see it on the field. You see it. We love, as coaches, I love those guys. That, they don't have to be forced to do anything. They just love to play ball. And scouts, recruiters love those guys, okay? And I'll be the first one to tell you, I wasn't one of them. I made it all the way to the major leagues to play, years in the big leagues, and wasn't, it was a business decision. And I know guys right now that are still playing or coaching definitely right now who looked at baseball that way too. They love the game, but it was a business decision that they made out of high school or college, okay? Telling you what it is. But my point being, yeah, you will have to eventually, specialize. I'm saying high school sometimes. Early in high school, the better, okay? Baseball season is only 2 months here in Maryland. If we don't add another sport, we are confined to playing club travel baseball. I understand the business decision of baseball. Yeah, I mean, you have to. It's, 2 months is not enough time, though, Mark. You need to play some more baseball, especially if, I've seen the videos on Facebook and stuff, man. You need to play more than 2 months in baseball. I know the weather and all of that, but he need to be doing something in the summer too. Yeah, there's travel teams, there are all-star teams or something. Get your reps in. I enjoy being out there from, I know, April now until, do it July. You know what I'm saying? To play baseball. Play out there. That's baseball season. Get your reps in. Okay? Regardless of how he feels about football and all that type of stuff, get your reps in. All right, because eventually baseball may rise to the top over football. He may enjoy football, but baseball may be his decision. Baseball may choose him. I've done that. I did with it. My daughter loves basketball. Okay, and she's good. I think she'd be a D1 athlete in basketball. But I believe that she can be a run-of-the-mill superstar in tennis. You know what I'm saying? As hard as she works. You know what I'm saying? And this is a topic that hits home with me every day. You know what I'm saying? My daughter is specializing in a sport right now. And she goes and plays like, pickup games and stuff in basketball to get her fix. And she's young, extremely young. And that's a high risk I'm taking. My family is taking. Okay? But again, she's like, Dad, you play multiple sports and all that. And I say, yeah, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? But we're making a business decision, and who knows what's going to happen. I believe I know what's going to happen. Come on, Mark, come see me, big dog. Come and see me. Come down in the summer. All right. He's doing about 70 to 80 games by adding travel competition, playing. Good. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I just want to make sure you made it sound like you're only playing 2 months. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he ain't playing 70, 80 games in no 2 months, but I'm going to make sure you get his reps in. All right. So listen, great topic today, right? listen, don't forget to sign up for the hitting masterclass that I will be having May 8th. Hitting Masterclass 101. All right, the link is here. Hittingmasterclass.com. Hittingmasterclass.com. Don't forget to sign up there, okay? Tony says, hitting question, D. When did you first start swinging wood? When you signed and went to the minors or in high school? Also, was there a particular wood bat that you swung and said, this is my bat, and stuck with one model, or did you have multiple models up in the pros? Okay, Tony, good question. So Tony asks, when should you start swinging with wood? You know what I love about it's certain things I don't love about what's going on with the game of baseball now, but I definitely love what's going on right now. You know, I train kids, you know what I'm saying? And I like them. Sometimes I have kids as young as 11 years old with wood bats working with me. You know what I'm saying? Or have worked with me. There are tournaments right now in Arizona. My friend of mine who runs a bat company says that they put on bat and they have, you know, 11 U tournaments, 12 U tournaments with wood bats. All right. I love it. You know why? Because you can't get away swing wise, bad mechanics wise that, you know, with the wood that you can with metal. Okay. So I'm not saying go out and use it in games and all that for practice at least. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I know your coaches may not want to, but I'm talking about, you know, maybe when you're doing a one-on-one, you know, lesson with your coach, or even in practice, especially on the indoor cages and stuff in the wintertime if you're working, that's the great time to use wood. Okay? I love it. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, Tony, whenever you feel comfortable using wood, the earlier the better. There's nothing wrong with, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna hit the ball as hard or as far as you would with metal, so other people, whatever. Let me see. I have a 10-year-old, okay, that uses wood with me all the time. Okay? So 10. He just showed me his new bat yesterday, to be honest with you. I saw him yesterday, and he showed me his new Marucci bat that he purchased, all right, and he works with. So he cracked his other one. And you tell me he is 10 years old, but you tell me he's 14, 15, when World Wood Bat tournaments and all the Atlanta and all that, he ain't gonna know what to do and how to swing a wood bat. So that's a great question, man. I personally started using them in high school, okay, and it got to a point where, you know, they weren't so accessible in, you know, in the stores and all of that. So actually, scouts used to give me bats. You know what I'm saying? Professional scouts used to give me bats and C271s and P72 Louisville Sluggers. All right, those would be my bats in high school, and I ended up using the C271 my first year or two in the pros, and then I started switching off to all different type of models. You know what I'm saying? And I-18s, J119s, you know, Marucci, you know, all different. It just went on and on and on. So I can't give you a specific model, just whatever I felt good at the time. And you know, I would use somebody else's. Oh man, I love the way this feels, and I would mix and match. Hey Marucci. Hey Louisville Slugger. Hey Rawlings. I want the C271 handle with the C243 barrel. That was an I-13, and you know, or I want the barrel to be like a pea shooter. We call it P72 pea shooter. P. You know what I'm saying? Barrel, and mix this with the flared handle. You know what I'm saying? Once you get to that level, it's like a golf club. Okay. At 14 and 16, if they have work ethic and athlete, they can learn. Using wood, they should before that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely before that. Now, parents, you know, I like to suggest, and Vic didn't talk about this, but Vic, you know, a bomb bat. You know what I'm saying? Because wood, you know, especially if you use it a lot, it can break on you. And you know, they're not expensive. Wood are not as expensive as metal bats, but they could be pricey if you keep breaking them. So. You know, Vic, you know, came on a couple of days ago. He said he has his kids purchase bomb bats. Now they are about $200-something, but they don't break. You know what I'm saying? They don't break. So you can use those forever. The only problem is if you got a 12 or 13-year-old kid that uses a bomb bat, but then 3 or 4, you know, a couple years, he's going to want different size, and you know, you'll be out 200. Kids using wood now, Ripken and the LLC USA bats are junk. The LLC, I'm thinking. The Little League because USA bats are junk. Okay, I get it. Yeah. So Brandon says, you know, in the Ripken League, you know what I'm saying, they're using wood bats. I think it's awesome, man. It's a clean game. I love when wood bats are used in a game because you're going to get real baseball. You're going to get 3-2 games. You're going to get 4-2 games, especially like at the Atlantas and the high level, you know what I'm saying, tournaments, you know, perfect game tournaments or whoever, you know what I'm saying. You're going to get real baseball. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it ain't going to be this enormous scores. And there's guys that can hit with wood, but, balls that you can crush with the metal. You got to really hit it with the wood. And so you get, good games. You get, especially guys in high school who don't really know how to use wood. They break bats left and right. It's good, Sorry, the 2-month season is Maryland high school baseball, as always, and I appreciate your valuable insight. I got you, Mark. So anyway, listen, I'm going over the time. It's all good. I appreciate you guys. Listen, I want everybody to have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Great topic, right? All right. Don't forget to sign up for the Hitting Masterclass. I will be back Monday at 3 o'clock Central Time. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys, man. Have a great, safe weekend, okay? I'll see you guys. Peace.